Hello everyone, welcome back to the World Chess Championship. Today we have game number 2 between Gukesh and Liren. Game number 1, if you didn't check it in my channel. I cover the game and it was a really crazy game and it was like 50 years, 53 years that the first World Chess Championship game was not decisive for the game. It was always a draw because for several reasons. Because the player needs to get used to the pressure, wants to see how much their opponent is prepared. A lot of stuff. But yesterday, Liren won a beautiful game with the 90% accuracy. And also in time trouble after the opening, and Gukesh did some inaccuracy, pushed too much, and in the end, Liren played really well. And today we have game number 2. So Liren is white and Gukesh is black, and Liren opened with so a lot of different possibility, tactical game, positional games, who knows? We will check it. Gukesh replied with e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. So we have an Italian game. After that, bishop c5 and d3. Okay, so this move, d3, is saying to Gukesh, look, I don't want to get involved in risky business. I just want a calm and positional game. And Gukesh says, okay, well, I can't do so much about it. If you want it, you will get it. And there is knight f6. So knight c3 and a6, preparing an expansion on the queen side first, and second, also giving a retreating square for the dark square bishop that in the diagonal a7, f2 is really helpful to put pressure on the f2 pawns and also on the center from the distance. And Liren replied with a4 because you never know. Same reason for the bishop, but also try to slow down a possible expansion on the queen side. And there are also a lot of positions in which white will play also a5 and try to target these pawns on the queen side and play for an endgame, because then in an endgame it can be an asset if you play properly. So Gukesh replied with d6 castle, and we have first h6 to prevent white from pinning the knight. Okay, so bishop e3. This bishop, there are some lines in which you can trade this bishop, but it's something that usually you don't want to do because, white will have a open file for this trade, and will also have a stronger control in the center, and these double pawns are not so problematic. So Gukesh replied with bishop e6, and we have a5, and this is the first inaccuracy. And here trade, right move, and here Gukesh replied with castle. But the right move here was bishop before, because now if, for example, if white does some silly move like queen e2, there is simply bishop takes, and this structure is bad. You can't see this structure. But even if white replies, for example, with knight d5, there is knight takes e4, and after that, after queen d3 and knight c5, knight c5. Black position is really good. Here it's not so easy for white to understand what to do. and you for sure you don't want to trade this bishop, otherwise you just lose a pawn. And if you try to play a bit more active with queen f5, there is even knight e6, try to stabilize everything, and white is black is simply up a pawn, so 4 and 7 against 8, and the position is good for black. Really hard to play as white in this position. So, but Gukesh didn't go for this. Gukesh just move just castle, and after castle we have trade, and b3 just stabilize everything. And now this will become a positional game in which white will try to fight for the control of the d5 square, and black will try to counterattack, maybe in the king side, maybe try to place a knight on d4, and really, really hard to play this position. I mean, it's not so easy to do mistakes, but it is really hard to push for a win. We have trade, and rook d8 challenging the file. And here we have different ideas. One idea is the one that Liren played, that is rook c1, because it's counterintuitive, the fact that you are taking away your rook from the control of the d file that is open, but in fact is a way of playing, because Gukesh, Liren could have also played rook 91, but is not so clear after moves like for example after trade and rook d8, the situation I don't know, begins to be a bit drawish, and you don't want to get involved in this thing if you are white. So Liren opted for a different approach, and he opted for rook c1, just keeping the tension, with the plan of remaneuvering the knight via e1 to the d3 square, to plant a knight on the d5 square, and to fight against the e5 and c5 pawns. And black will have to try to avoid this plan, or to just make white life harder. Gukesh with knight d4, just planting a knight on a nice centralized square, and we have knight e1, rook d6, and king f1, and here we have g6. So a lot of possible moves here, a lot of ideas for black. For sure, the idea of white is to plant an eye, is to go for with a knight on the e3 square, but it's not so easy, because if now knight a3, there is a knight b3, that knight takes a b3 that is really strong, and if c takes, we have rook takes d3, and white just lost a pawn for no reasons, so no need to go for that. And it's not so easy to understand what to do in this position, probably because black is preparing also ideas with knight d7, f5, and if white do, for example, if white wastes some moves, we have already knight d7, and I don't know, rook rook a1. We have f5 that just crush the position, and here for sure black will fight for a win, and white will have to defend. But if you don't go for this line, maybe rook b1 is a nice attempt to go for a win, but even with this, maybe we have h5. It's not so clear what white wants to achieve. Maybe now he's stopping knight takes b3, so now he can play knight d3. But even with that, after knight d7, everything in black position is stabilized. White will have an easier life, because after knight d5, white pieces are just more active, and white has well, it doesn't have more space, but has a clearer plan of attack black position. So, yeah, maybe Rook B1 was the better attempt to play for a win, but here Gukesh here Liren opted for Rook D1, and here we have Rook D8, and after F3 just to stabilize the center, and King G7 we have King F2, H5, and Knight E2, and probably Liren didn't feel so much comfortable to push on this position, and Black defended really properly. It was the second game. You don't want to lose the advantage. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what was in his mind. Maybe he prepared something in the opening with these moves, but Black defended properly, and he didn't want to push more. So, and he didn't want to lose the advantage that he gained yesterday. So I don't know. There are a lot of strategy when you are playing a World Chess Championship, and I never did it, so I can't tell. But after there is knight e2, knight c6, knight c3, knight d4, and we have a repetition of moves. And in this position, the players agreed to a draw. So, well, really nice idea. I really like the structure from white side. Everything is stabilized. Maybe, maybe in this position, a nice attempt would have been h4, try to slow down the expansion on the king side, and after that, maybe try to play on the queen side because I don't know. White pieces are not developed better, but white pieces has a future, and if white can manage to deal with the problem on c2, can push for something more than a draw. But I mean, I'm not a GM. I can't for sure criticize their decision. And day two finished like this with a draw. So Liren leads with half points above Gukesh, and tomorrow we will have game number 3. And the day later, I think after 3 games, they agreed that they will have a break for 1 day. So maybe there will be a game tomorrow, and well, today I don't know which day it is. It is Tuesday, so maybe Thursday we will have a break. So, I hope you liked the video, and see you in the next game.